Buckle up, folks. This is going to get a little bumpy. Big Sil's National Football Show. Happy Football Friday to you. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Bottom of the hour, want to get it out of the way. CBS's Boomer Esiason will join us. We'll talk to him about MVP race. We'll talk to him about the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get into the game here in a second. First and foremost, though, I do want to address this. Congratulations, Howie, for delivering the 2017 Super Bowl to the city of Philadelphia by yourself. Congratulations. He's now officially, in my eyes, the Jerry Jones of GMs. How many GMs do you see going around tooting their horn? This guy's got the swinette going. I'm the best GM in the NFL. Holy cow. Do I think he should be fined? No. Absolutely not. Howie! Hey, I'm the best general manager that's ever lived. I and I alone delivered the Super Bowl for the fine folks of Philadelphia. Every Super Bowl ring that was handed out to players that year have my name on it. I am King Howie. Howie the King. Long live Howie. Holy cow. Man. Holy cow, man. Isn't it good enough that I delivered? Oh, Jesus criminy. I'm like Jordan. This was the big rub between Jordan and Jerry Krause. Organizations, man, they don't win championships. Players do. The players do. The accountability. Players win championships. Well, he put the team. That's your job to find players to put. You didn't do anything. I don't remember you throwing passes, breaking a leg. You did nothing, man, except take the owner's money and get some players on the team that you thought could win. It's up to the players to win championships. You didn't do shit, man. I'm the best GM. This guy's Jerry Jones. Holy cow. Holy cow. I actually like it. There's a part of me that likes it. Okay? Today we need as many personalities in sports as we can get. So I'm all over it. I mean, look, I saw somebody say, well, maybe he should be. Come on. Dude, there's a lot of things in sports you want to find people for. That ain't one of them. Having a little fun, too. It's all good, man. Okay? It's all good. I'm the best GM. Hey, Paul, you don't like it. Get the F out. I don't care. Hey, I'm the best. Unbelievable. By the way, this World Series has been iconic. It's been iconic. I thought the Phillies played their ass off last night. That was really great. Came down. They didn't take care of business. Now they go back to Houston. I've really enjoyed the World Series. I have. I don't think they're done, by the way. I think this thing's going 7. I do. I think the fighting Phillies are going to be right there, baby. And Sanders like, Howie, let him hang. I'm the best. I'm this. I'm that. I'm the greatest GM in the history of GMs in the National Football League. I'm the best. The Jerry Jones of GMs resides in Philly. Look at me. I'm the guy. No one else. Wasn't Doug Peterson. Was it Foles? Was it the players? It was me. I delivered. Aren't you grateful? I was like, wow. Pretty ballsy to say that he was completely responsible for winning the Super Bowl. Huh. Okay. I'm going to get to the takeaways of the game last night, and we'll go over the numbers. All hail Howie. All hail. Man, that was I'll tell you one thing I do love, Xander. Howie Roseman and Jalen Hurts are king of content. They are king of content. Way to go, Howie. You make it interesting. he's made the season interesting. Howie's the guy. Howie's the GOAT. He ain't that good. He ain't that good a drafter. Don't kid yourselves. Or there wouldn't be a shitload of one-year deals on the team if he was that good. You're making it sound like this guy's Chuck Noll drafting Hall of Famers like that. Hey, I screw up on a receiver, I'll go buy one. Hey, I screw up on a corner, I'll go get two. No, wait, I'll go get three. Hey, I screw up on an edge rusher, I'll go get a couple guys. Come on, man. Wake up. Here, over here. Big Sills is here to set you on the right track. How you doing? Everyone misses? That's the point, Dank. I delivered the Super Bowl. Oh, my God. Boomer Esiason, bottom of the hour. Boomer Esiason. Man, I delivered the Super Bowl. Me. King Howie. I have come to the land of brotherly love, and I alone have delivered your one and only Super Bowl. I, who have missed on a billion draft choices since I've been head of personnel, have built a football team that may win another Super Bowl. I alone. Be grateful. All of you are peasants. Holy cow, man. Me. Howie got you the Super Bowl? How about the players that played, man? Holy cow. Unbelievable. Joseph says, hey, I liked Howie talking shit to the fans. What's more Philly than that? Nothing. Joseph, wait a minute. I didn't say it. Wait a minute. Have you heard me say I didn't like it? I said it's pretty ballsy. Coming out and telling everybody I'm the greatest GM in the history of GMs in Philadelphia sports. I'm like, oh, hey, he might be actually. I don't know if Dombrowski can turn it around. He's pretty awesome too, though, man. He's delivered a lot of championships in a lot of cities. Man, I'm the best. I delivered the Super Bowl. All right, let's get into the numbers here. Let's get into the takeaways from last night's 29-17 victory for the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles. The Jordan Davis injury is without a doubt an important injury now to the team. Can I say this to you? Remember Big Sales telling you Fletcher Cox should not be on this team? Not for the price tag that he is. He's done. Fletcher Cox is done. The dude that's on the other side of him, though, I don't know what he's taking right now, but that was some ball game last night by Hargrave. 3 sacks, 3 TFLs. I mean, the game was everywhere. He looked spectacular last night. Fletcher Cox is finished. Okay? It's done. It's over. Hey, by the way, watch this. To make sure that we send him out on the right way, Fletcher Cox has had a brilliant career in Philadelphia. He will go down as one of the greatest defensive linemen ever to play in that organization's career or history. He will get a green jacket. He will be a guy that you'll look at and say, wow, this guy, what a great football player. But today, it's time to move on. It's just time. He's not the same player, and he can't give it to you. He'll give it to you in flashes and some spurts, but that's pretty much what I said from day one. He's not going to give you consistent football, and that's why they were running that football down Philadelphia's throat last night. The shittiest team in the league pushed around the front 7 of the Eagles last night. I thought handily, too. I thought in the first half, both lines got beat up a bit. I can't even tell you who's on the Houston Texans defensive line anymore, but they beat up the Eagles front line. What was it, 14-14 going into the half? I said this to you. Houston just doesn't have enough. They don't have enough talent. That was a well-coached game plan. I told you what they had to do, run the ball, and they did. They had to keep Jalen in the offense on the bench. By the way, pass protection, Lane got his ass kicked a few times. I'll tell you what that kind of comes from, too. Jordan Mailata got destroyed. This is 2 games in a row where you have to do this. Is he healthy? Is he okay? I don't think it's got a lot to do with his shoulder. I think it's got to do with his feet. His footwork is not good. He's resorting back to what he did 3 years ago. He's getting beat on the second move again. He's just not picking his foot up and sliding enough. Okay? He's just not. I thought he got killed last night. It was a terrible football game for him. Okay? Andrew, I'm talking about the Eagles Hall of Fame, my friend. Yeah, Mailata was drilled last night. Eagle defensive line, terrible. And by the way, when are your ends going to get home? Yeah, your boy Hassan Reddick. Try to get off the bus again. And Devontae Smith, 2 catches, 22 yards. Jesus, thank God you got AJ and Goddard, because that kid's getting lost in the mix. He's getting lost in the mix. Jalen can't find 3 guys. It's either Goddard or AJ. Goddard or AJ. You notice the 3rd guy in the building doesn't get any touches. 2 catches, 22 yards. That proverbial 3 dudes over 1,000 yards receiving, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. You got to figure, hey, the most electric wide receiver that you have is Devontae Smith in open space. AJ's a freak show with jump balls. Goddard is spectacular on the seam and on the hash and in the slot or in block and release. He's spectacular. I told you he was going to be, I thought, the main focus. This guy's on pace for 1,100 yards. Devontae's the guy that's getting lost in the mix here. Okay? He is. I've never heard of that guy that was running at Mailata before last night. Joseph, I think he's just some, old veteran guy. I mean, he killed Mailata last night. Absolutely destroyed him. It's troubling. Got Dallas coming up again. Dallas is a better pass rushing team. Now, Dallas can't stop the run. I don't care what they say in Dallas. Yeah, Hughes, man. That guy's been playing a boatload of years, right, Ron? Thank you, Kyle. He's like a 13-year dude. Ate him up. Hightower ate his ass up last week. Okay? Fletcher can come back on a minimum. I don't want him back. I don't want him back. Dude, he's toast. Let's get some young blood in there at defensive line. Fletcher Cox is toast. Move on. It's not about the name on the back of the jersey. It's about the organization and winning games. Yeah, he's been around a minute. JM, Mailata needs to stop singing and playing around. Yeah, I do this technique. Believe me, man, Stoutland's got to be in his ass today. Okay? Steve, could it be that he's hurt? Okay? And you know what? I'm going to tell you this. I would give Jordan Mailata the benefit of the doubt because I think he's too great an athlete. I don't think he's a good athlete. I think Jordan Mailata is a great athlete. Hurts MVP talk. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. I agree with Shannon Sharp. By the way, I brought it up yesterday. Hurts is not going to get the MVP. He should be in the conversation, though. But he's not going to put up the sexy numbers that voters in Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami. You know, I heard Rob. Rob got a little bit aggravated with that conversation. Rob knows it's reality. He knows it's reality. He's like, you're not watching Eagle games. Do you really think MVP voters watch Eagle games? Do you really think that? It's not because they sitting around and D Gunn, I was watching Sports Take, and he was like, you know, the one year that Lamar won the MVP, he only threw for 3,100 yards. Yeah, well, he led the NFL in wins and he also led the NFL in touchdown passes. Okay? Jalen's got a lot of that on his side. He really does. Hey, by the way, I don't really think that Jalen Hurts cares about the MVP award. I think he cares about the Super Bowl MVP award more. Okay? I do. I think this kid is everything you want, and he is getting better and better and better, and I had no complaints with his game whatsoever last night. The one fumble he had, the strip sack, I mean, you see guys do that all the time. I've seen Brady give something like that up. So that happens. A strip sack, you don't see the guy coming from the blind side like that. It happens. Okay? It happens. So I didn't perturb me too much, that turnover. Okay? So I wasn't like, Jesus, I'd said it on Twitter just to get under people's ass. But really, at the end of the day, that happens in games like that, man. You're so focused on the field. All of a sudden, a guy comes up, strip sacks you. It happens. And isn't that like the first one all year? I'm not losing sleep over that one. Okay? That's I'm allotted to. Hey, by the way, I don't know what it was with the snap count, but Jason Kelce and the entire offensive line, they were out of sequence. I don't know what was up with the snap count. I mean, that could play a lot into Mulata getting laid off the ball, too. Kelce sets the line protection along with Jalen. They weren't sliding very well. Even Lane looked at times bad. There was just something that I don't know what it was last night. Maybe just not focusing. Because it looked to me like there were lapses in focus last night. Now, again, you're going to play games like that. This is not college football. You don't have to have a beauty pageant and win a ball game. I was telling Xander this. Dude, you don't really have to, have a beauty contest where you look perfect every single game. But I will say this, guys. Maybe the short work week could have been. Could have been. Okay, now you get 11 days off. Got a problem with that a little bit, but hey, it'll help some of the veteran guys get healthier, and that's a cool thing. But again, this was the first time that the Eagles played down to a competition. The Texans have nothing to offer. I will say that running back, and again, I'm going to get to the numbers here. That Dameon Pierce, I was just asking Xander, do you remember him with the Gators? This guy's like Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis was a non-factor at Georgia. Goes into the NFL, turns into a Hall of Fame back. That kid can play, man. 27 carries, 139. That dude can play some ball. He's good. And the Texans line, outside of Jeremy Tunsil, there's nothing really in the room there. Right? I was a little shocked. Yeah, dude, the kid Pierce had 139. I mean, he was spectacular last night against what I thought was a soft defensive front for the Eagles. Now watch, does a game like that concern me? I'll tell you a little bit, but not really. I don't want to straddle anything here, but let's get to the numbers here. Couple minutes, Boomer Esiason's going to join us. I told you, didn't I tell you, you had to keep the Eagles to 60 plays to make the game kind of close. They held them to 62 plays. So they were right in that ballpark. The only problem was I told you they needed 70 plays. They had 57. You can always get on a series chart whoever has more play. If you have more plays, you have more opportunities, right? They limited the Eagles to 62. You needed to be around the 60 play mark. Okay? The 60 play mark for you to have a shot at winning this game. Total yards, Texans 303, not terrible. Eagles had 360. Passing yards, 217. Hey, I'm not upset with the passing yards either. They didn't need to throw the ball. Just run the thing. You were going to dominate them anyway. They had 168. By the way, the secondary continues to shine. Passing yards, we did that. Turnovers. Texans 2, Eagles 1 to strip sack. Not a big deal. Jalen Hurts, 21 of 27. 2 touchdowns, 128.9 quarterback rating. Can't bitch at that. There's absolutely no bitching at that. I mean, what, 6 incompletions? Plus he was sacked a bunch of times, 4 times in the ball game. That's not stressing me. Okay? Isaiah says Devontae's still on pace for 940 yards. Oh, good. He'll match his rookie season then, right? Don't you want him to have a little bit better of a year? 940 yards in today's NFL is like 50 yards a game. You think that's good for a guy you drafted in the first round? I don't know. 940 yards. Last year he was under 1,000. Dude, to get 1,000 rushing yards today in 17 ball games, you have to average 61 yards a game. Okay? Some of these guys that make $25 million a year, 61 yards a game. Think of that. Over a 17-game schedule, comes out to 1,000. Maybe even lower, 60. Dallas Goedert is continuing to get better and better and better and better. He looks like a cheap man's version of Gronkowski. He doesn't have the hands that Gronk has, but he can block like Gronk. And when he gets in open space, I said this to you, Zach Ertz never looked for the end zone. Every time Dallas Goedert catches the ball, he wants to take it to the end zone. This guy's got a nose for the end zone. He's got a nose for it, man. I enjoy watching him play. He is an old school, rough, tight end. He's fun to watch. And by the way, he looks for contact. He tries to run you over. His hands aren't Zach's, but he does everything else better than Zach Ertz. He's a better player than Zach Ertz. Howie was right there. He's a better player. He's a better blocker. He has a better catch and yards after the catch radius than what Zach ever did. He's a good football player. And it's showing. 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. AJ, 4 catches, 59 yards. More of a decoy in that game last night. And as I said, Smith, 2 catches for 22 yards. Okay. He's the odd man out when it comes to moving the ball and spreading the ball around. Because Jalen's not a progression reader. Okay? You're just not going to have 3 guys, as I said, are going to have, there's going to be 1 guy every game. There's not going to be 3 or 4 guys every game. By the way, AJ 59 yards, like I said, that's right on the pace of 1,000. He's hanging in there. Last week he had 155, so get this. In a span of 2 weeks, this guy had 200 yards receiving. That's great. That's great. Okay? And again, Jalen, no arguments or nothing last night with how he played. Okay? No issues with how he played last night. So again, taking it away, my issues come again, once again, on the defensive side of the ball. Poor tackling. Your secondary saves your ass. This kid, CJ, I'm telling you something, man. He is a damn good ball player. I don't know, man. I know you guys, you guys like the 2 corners. I like Slade, Bradbury too. But to me, man, this CJ kid now leads the NFL in interceptions, and he's going into a free agent period when he has the end of the year here. He's going to command a shitload of money, dude, because he can play both the cornerback position and the safety position. He is some ball player. That's why I told you last week, for me, the guy who's kind of put it all together, I agree with Tone when he says that TJ Edwards is the guy that kind of like cements everything. I got to tell you something. The guy who's playing his ass off right now is Gardner Johnson. This kid can play, man. He is a good football player. Jonathan Gann has got a problem, though, with run defense. It's starting to rear its head again. And you know where they're starting to get beat? On first down again. And without Jordan Davis in there, Jordan Davis clearly is an issue. When he's in there and you have Fletcher in there, both of them, and you put a 50 front up, it's impossible to run the ball against the Eagles. Okay? I mean, to me, I'd put Hargrave on that nose. And I'd put Milton Williams, and I would put Fletcher over the guards. That would even, in my opinion, that would even help Fletcher out a little more. The cornerbacks are, without a question, making that defense run. Without those corners, you're not going anywhere. And by the way, your defensive ends, once again, are not getting home. You're not getting home. Now, let's pull this all back and reel it back in. There ain't no. You see what we're doing here? We're chipping away here because we're looking for perfection. Okay? We're not talking about a 2-win team or a 3-win team. You don't give a shit because you know you're not going nowhere. This is a team that has a lot ahead of it and a lot to play for. There's a ton of stuff to play for right now. Home field advantage, player contracts, free agents, the coach, the general manager tooting his horn, running around the stadium. I'm the best in the history of GMs. Okay, that's all great. It's good theater. I love it. It's great content. Once again, anybody finds Howie Roseman for that, you're an idiot, and you're looking for excuses to find people. That's not a finable offense. Was it him just being Howie? It kind of shows you more about who he is than really rubbing it in anybody's face. I didn't take it that way. I just thought it was a guy who goes a blowhard. I didn't take it in any insulting way. Okay? To me, that wasn't. To me, it was more like somebody said, you couldn't have been more Philly than what Howie was. He was basically telling that crowd or that part of it, F you, man. Okay? It's all good, man. Hey, I thought he was blowing and tooting his horn. Okay? But at the end of the day, man, so what? So what? It gives me shit to hammer him on. But at the end of the day, it has no bearing on whether or not the football team's playing well. I think it's funny. Good for him. No issues. Hey, anybody who thought that was over the line is stupid. You never heard me say that. I just like Howie going, I'm the best. I delivered the Super Bowl for Philly. I did it. I did it. It was me. All me. I did it. Not the players or the coaches or the owner. I did it. It was me. And I'll deliver it again because I'm the Messiah. Oh, man. I thought it was funny, man. Xander sends it to me early in the morning. I'm like, look at this guy. Holy cow, is he feeling himself? Those were some of my takeaways. Was it a perfect game? No, who cares? You move on to a little bit of a kind of 11-day break here a little bit. Okay? It's good. Get a little healthier. It's no big deal. Okay? You're going to run. You know how many more games are going to be like the Texans? The rest of the season out? You're going to probably have 2 more or 3 more of those. You're never going to play perfect football. What you're looking for is, can you overcome sometimes beating teams with not your best effort? And again, I don't think there was an effort issue. I think there was some shitty tackling last night. Okay, there was some shitty tackling. But I turn around and I go, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to Boomer Esiason and get his thoughts on Jalen Hurts. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy put up what he's doing this year in my life. Boomer, thank you so much. Boomer, Jalen Hurts' play right out of the gate. What do you make? Thanks, brother, for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dan. Well, you know what? He's making $1.6 million this year. That's what he's making. I wish I could be making that, right now. But I will say that he's going to get a $40 million raise, if not more, starting next year. Remember, he's a second-round draft choice, and this is the third year of a 4-year contract. So he's not going to be playing for that contract next year. I can tell you that. Hey, the reason I love him, he's a second-round draft choice. Nobody gave him a lot of credit coming out of college. He moved from Alabama and left there because of Tua. And, all this kid does is just win. He wins everywhere he goes. He's like a gritty type of quarterback who's refined his game into being one of the best in the league. And I think his GM, Howie Roseman, has done an unbelievable job building around him. And if you watched last night, it's hard to get a real read simply because the Houston Texans aren't that good. But you see how good their offensive line is, Dan. So I know a thing or two about having really good offensive lines and bad offensive lines. And Philadelphia has one of the best offensive lines in football. And it helps when you can run the ball and you can run yourself. And then you have wide receivers like they do. So Howie Roseman deserves a lot of credit. But Jalen Hurts is the guy that's pulling the trigger and leading the team.
Boomer, how much did that motivate you when you go in the first round? I remember that day. We're sitting down at the bar down there, and we're all watching this. Your boy Pete Koch goes, Ron Solt goes, all these guys go, and there you were, the ACC Player of the Year, and you go in the second round. Was that something, Boomer, that was like a little bit of a chip on your shoulder when you got to the NFL? Because you ended up being a most valuable player, won an AFC title, all of that.
Yeah, of course it was, Dan. I mean, you know me from back in the day. You know exactly how I was like. Probably a little bit more refined today than I was back when I was 22 years old. But, I just, we had the USFL and everything else involved, and Steve Young had just signed that big deal with the LA Express. He was going to be the first quarterback taken. I was going to be the second quarterback taken. But since he decided to go to the USFL, I ended up, getting drafted by Cincinnati. And as luck turned out, it was a great place for me. I had great coaching around me for the first 8 years of my career, great players around me. So but I remember going into the league probably like Jalen did, with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder and wanting to prove people wrong. I think kind of like Tom Brady did. Tom Brady lasted until the 6th round. So, I mean, the league is littered with guys like that. Not everybody has to be a top 5 pick in order to turn out to be great. I think even Patrick Mahomes, to some extent, was probably a little bit miffed that he lasted as long as he did, believe it or not. So, and that they took Mitch Trubisky in Chicago before they took Patrick Mahomes. So, not that Mitch Trubisky's a bad dude, but he's not Patrick Mahomes, who's a Hall of Fame player in waiting. So, I think that's part of Jalen Hurts. I think it's part of a lot of players in the league that they have this mindset that they think somehow they've been screwed over and they want to show people that they belong.
So we're beyond Ben Bennett, right? I move on.
Yes.
Are the Eagles the best team in the NFC?
I say right now they are. Of course, they're 8-0, but I still say watch out for the 49ers, man. The 49ers, when they are healthy, they are going to be a bitch to deal with. And if there's a team that, if they are healthy, that can go on the road and beat Philadelphia if they have to play in the playoffs, it would be that team, because that team is loaded on the defensive line. They're really good on the offensive line. They just added Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and, of course, George Kittle. So when they are healthy and they are rolling, I think they're probably the biggest threat to the Eagles. And then right after that, I would probably say the Cowboys.
Have you been surprised by Nick Sirianni and Boomer? After the 2-5 start of a year ago, he hands the play-calling duties over to Shane Steichen. And since that time, Boomer, they're 16-4. I mean, I guess it's the evolution of being a head coach. You got to put like the coordinator headsets down and put the main headset on. But have you been surprised?
I'm not really that surprised because, before he came to Philadelphia, he was the offensive coordinator for Frank Reich out in Indianapolis, our buddy Frank. And, Frank thought really highly of him and said, he's ready to go. Now, Nick, had a goofy opening press conference. It was pretty bad. And Philadelphia fans were like, what did we get ourselves into? But, he's a good football coach. He knows the game. He knows, how to manage the team on the sideline, knows how to deal with different situations. To me, the biggest thing is situational football and how a coach handles it. And does he have the decisions, on the tip of his tongue, or is he, flubbing around for them or whatever the issue may be. So from a pure football standpoint, he's a really good coach. Maybe as a communicator to the media, not so good. That's not his strong point. And he hasn't gotten much better at it either, by the way. But when you're winning, a little bit of goofiness isn't so bad. So I think it's, a head coach should be a head coach to the entire team. And I don't like when head coaches start calling plays on either side of the ball, because I really feel like he's letting down the other side of the team. So my advice to all these coaches would be who you are as a leader of men, and let the people that you hire do their job the way that you know that they can do it.
3 last questions for you here. Boomer, do you believe in the Cowboys, that the Cowboys can go far? The offensive line is not the same as it was 3 years ago. The running game's not the same. Can Dak carry that team far this year, or do you still have question marks with them?
Well, I think they're probably the third best team, like I was just telling you, in the NFC. And the NFC is kind of light this year. But, to me, when you have pass rushers like DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, it kind of changes the landscape of the NFL, because who you're playing basically is going to have an opportunity to have their game blown up, because they are so good and they are so dominant. The Giants found that out. Even though the Giants are 6-2, the Dallas Cowboys came into MetLife Stadium and just absolutely hammered them. And DeMarcus Lawrence had a 3-sack game against Evan Neal. So I think that defensively they are really good. They are turnover machines. They're sack generators. Offensively, I think that, they're probably, I would say, close to being a top 10 offense. They're not a top 5 offense in my eyes, even though that they won without Dak Prescott. But I like Dak, and I appreciate who he is as a player. So I think they'll definitely be a player in the playoffs, and they should at least win one game, one home game. Well, they're going to be most likely they're going to be a wild card, so they're going to have to go on the road to win. And that defense is going to have to be healthy, and they're going to have to be playing well in order to do that.
You mentioned the Giants. They get beat by Seattle last week. I mean, Boomer, the only other story I can think of where you saw a guy who we all buried, he's a backup guy, he gets with great coaching with Pete Carroll, Geno Smith here, man. I mean, maybe Rich Gannon, where we saw a guy go around for 9 teams and all of a sudden he gets an MVP award in Oakland. I mean, have you ever seen anything like this?
I'm sure that there have been players. I didn't realize that would be a question, because I probably would have an answer for you. I do a little study on that. But I will say, here's the beauty about Geno Smith. So he's in his 10th year. He's been in Seattle for 3 years. It's obvious that Seattle had enough of Russell Wilson, that Russell Wilson was unpopular. Russell Wilson was unpopular with his coaching staff, with the players in the locker room. You've heard a lot of the ex-players who have played with Russell basically come down on him as being a phony or of some sort. I don't know that, because I haven't played with Russell, but I do know that the replacement of Russell is going to be beloved, especially if it was his backup for the last 3 years that knows everybody in the building. And as long as that guy can play, then everybody's going to love him. And quite frankly, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder right now as well. You remember, he was a 2nd-round draft pick by the Jets. He actually stuck it to the Giants last week after they beat them, because he said, I dedicate this game to Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese. That was his former head coach and GM at the Giants, who actually gave him an opportunity to replace Eli Manning, which didn't go over well when he was here. But now I just think that I'm glad for him. I'm happy for him. He stuck with it. He's made a lot of money, and he's in line for another big payday, if he can keep this going. And I do expect them to beat the Arizona Cardinals this week, by the way, Dan.
Wow, man. Final question for you, Boomer. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, do both those guys not make the playoffs? Do one of them make the playoffs? Are you surprised? Is that the biggest surprise, that you're watching the way that Brady and the Packers are playing right now? Brady and the Buccaneers and Aaron Rodgers and the Packers?
I think if you had to ask me which of these two teams has a better chance of making it to the playoffs, I would say it's the Buccaneers, just simply because of the division that they play in. Neither one of these teams is going to make it. I don't believe as a wild card. I think they're going to have to be a division winner, and I think Minnesota is so far ahead of the Green Bay Packers. As long as Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt, I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to catch them. Brady, on the other hand, they're right in the mix. They're a game out, I think, of first place in the NFC South. They have a game this week against the Rams. They should light up the Rams. They should light them up. That this should be a game that shouldn't even be close. And then they'll get back on track. And Akeem Hicks is coming back for them. So that's a huge get back for them. And remember, Devin White this week has also been ridiculed and called out for loafing on the field and being lazy on the field. I think with Akeem Hicks back in front of him, because he's a guy now is playing the position that Ndamukong Suh used to play for Tampa Bay, and he's the one that's protecting Devin White. Watch Devin White have about a 15 tackle game and go off this week, and Tom Brady throw for 350 yards and 4 scores, and everybody will be happy down in Tampa again.
Boy, you do so much stuff, Boomer. I mean, you know, the NFL with CBS and, you know, the morning show, obviously. How many years now have you been doing the morning show at WFAN now?
I just started. Well, I started this in September, 16 years.
16 years.
16
Do you enjoy
years.
TV or radio more?
That's kind of interesting. You know, we are simulcast, kind of like you are
Yeah.
here. So I'm on TV every morning, so I don't even think about the cameras there. But on Sundays, I got 4 partners that I'm working with. It's a little bit more scripted. It's not nearly as improv as it is every morning for us here in New York. So I guess I would probably say I would enjoy the radio a little bit more, simply because you have a little bit more time to explain yourself. There's a little bit more improv there, and I'm really working with one main partner, but I do have a team that I work with, and we've been together for so long that it's kind of easy when you get there and really enjoy, the work that you have.
Who would have thought, going back and forth to Islip in Maryland, sitting in the car with Vic Kronberg, going back and forth with Victor and Pete Koch. Pete's even doing commercials now. You see Pete doing those commercials?
Yeah.
I love Pete Koch. I stay in touch with him. I hope you do too.
He's doing the old man commercials.
Yeah. Hey, Boomer, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. You always find time for me. Thank you, my friend.
All right, Dano. Take it easy, brother. Have a great one.
You got it. That is Boomer Esiason from WFAN in New York, and, of course, from CBS. We really appreciate him coming aboard with us here. Yeah, we used to go back and forth. My freshman year at Maryland, Boomer came to me and he goes like this. He goes, "Hey, how are you getting back and forth to college?" And I go, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, my buddy has a car, Pete Koch. He's the Swede in Heartbreak Ridge. Have you guys ever seen the movie Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood? So he's one of our best friends. And Swede's like 6'7", and he was really a great guy. So that guy, 6'7", is in a car, and another guy from Stanford, his name was Vic Kronberg. He had the only car. So he would go to New York. I'd get in the car with him. He'd go to New York. Boomer and Pete would be in the car. There'd be the 4 of us in this car. Must have did that for a whole year and a half. Yeah, the Swede. All right, we're going to get more into the game last night. And I'm going to have a conversation with you about Jalen Hurts, about going undefeated, about the MVP award. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lee Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pond Lee Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pond Lee Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pond Lee Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome back, National Football Show. When they get a show sucks button, I'll hit it. Oh, man. Phillies pissed you off last night. They didn't take care of business, but you know what? I don't think they're done yet, man. I don't think they're done. I think this bad puppy's going to a 7 game, man. I appreciate you guys all coming aboard, and I think it's going to go 7. So hang in there. Still not over yet. Please hit the like button. We appreciate everybody coming in. Thank Boomer Esiason for stepping in with us. Thank you so much. Those were my takeaways. Hey, you see, Boomer said 40 million. Like he was Dr. Evil. 40 million for Xander's boy, Jalen Hurts. Jalen at the halfway mark. He's on pace for 4,000 yards. Will he do it? Will he not? I don't think he does it. You know why? I think they're going to have home field advantage locked up, and they're going to start pulling his ass at the end of games. Why wouldn't you? You're up on a team, especially some of these shitty teams that you have coming up like you have with the Texans. Why keep him in? Why take that chance of getting him hurt? 50 million. Good luck. You keep it. He ain't. Come on. You guys were telling me Devontae's going to have 1,300 yards. You get them. Remember you said Jalen would never throw for 4,000 yards? I still 100% believe that. Absolutely. Absolutely still believe that. Absolute 40 million never happened. Because if you do that, half your team's gone. How you doing? Eagles won't be the same. Oh, my God. Then you'll be blaming Jalen for ripping the team apart because he got the money. Why wouldn't they? They won't pull him so he gets $4K. Why would I do – Maniac, that's a good point. Why would I let Jalen pile up all the statistics that he possibly can so that could come back to haunt me in negotiations? Howie's smart. Why would I let a guy have 100 tackles in a season when I could pull him and he doesn't have that negotiation tool to come back and negotiate against me? Well, he did have 100 tackles. No, you didn't. You had 80. Why would I give him that vehicle? I think you guys are under some sort of guise that, Jalen, you just keep playing, put up everything, and we're going to give you an open check. That's not going to happen. Okay? I do believe he's not going to throw for 4,000 because Jalen Hurts doesn't want to throw for 4,000 yards. Jalen Hurts wants to win games. Same way Aikman did. And if it just so happens one year he lands on it, he may. But I don't think that that's a priority. That's going to go into my first topic. How important is it for you and the Eagles to go undefeated? To me, I don't think it's a big deal, and I could care less about going undefeated. But do you think it's a thing now? You're 8-0. Is it a thing? Do you care? Is that a goal? Nobody starts the year out going, let's go undefeated. You want to win as many games as you possibly can because you know how tough the league is. That's why with a game like that last night, you don't hear me really shitting on the Eagles for their performance. You're going to get probably 3 more of those. Win the game. Win the game. We can nitpick in here and talk about the D-line. Bellotta giving up sacks and such. But at the end of the day here, it's about winning the ball game here. Should the Eagles make this a priority going undefeated? I don't think it should. Because if you happen to get upset, you happen to trip up, move on to next week, man. Going undefeated, I'll tell you a story that Nick Bonacani told me. Fade says, I could care less about 17-0. That's the right attitude. I'm going to give you guys a storyline that Nick Bonacani, when I was down in Miami, and I used to talk to Manny Fernandez about it. They're a great defensive line tackle. Monique, thank you. I asked him, when did you guys know you were undefeated? You know when he said? You know, it didn't dawn on us until the New England game, and we realized that we were going into the postseason unbeaten. That's when it became where, because look, once you get into the postseason, okay, you get bounced, it's one and done. So if you happen to get to that final game, Bonacani goes, we didn't really realize it. Then we said, hey, I think let's go undefeated. That's when I think New England was the final game of the year that year. And I wanted to see how Manny Fernandez answered it. He goes, we didn't really think about it until after we beat New England. I was like, shit, man. Because you know what they kept doing back then? They played 14 games back then. They kept going like this. Shula kept going. And you know what? Sirianni does this. Let's go 1-0. Let's go 1-0. Let's go 1-0. Every week's a chapter in the book. Every week's a chapter in the book. Hey, do you want to make history? Absolutely. Absolutely you want to make history. But the priority was to win the Super Bowl. It's not to go undefeated. If that happens to be a collateral result of going and winning a Super Bowl, so be it. If Jalen Hurts throws for 4,000 yards and they win the Super Bowl, and that's a collateral part of it, congratulations to you. Seals, thoughts on the Bills and Chiefs having easier schedule than the Birds? It's not how I see it. I saw that dumbass stat that CBS put out there. You've played 2 winning teams. 2 winning teams. How about this to be fair, Ikun? I'll tell you this. They play better quarterbacks in the AFC than you guys will. Who's the toughest quarterback you've played so far this year? Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins? Those guys play Lamar Jackson. They play Justin Herbert. They play Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Derek Carr. You guys play nothing like that. Cooper Rush. They play bumps. Again, that's everybody in the NFC this year. It's not just, this has turned not just into an Eagle conversation with bad teams. You even heard Boomer say the NFC's down. Okay? So you complain, win, and lose? No, I point out some areas of the football team that didn't perform that well. Call it complaining? This is what I do, jackass. Derek Carr's average. Okay? What is the likelihood that we are forced to play our starters to win out because Minnesota wins out too? Well, you got the advantage in okay, I see what you're saying. If they end up the season 16-1, I think they're playing a lot of close games. I think they play a lot of close games, Minnesota. Every game I tune on, it's a fourth quarter football game in Minnesota. They're going to trip up, I think, 1 or 2 more times. Dallas is the team to keep an eye on. That's why a game like last night, you don't want to drop a game like that, because that could come back to haunt you if Dallas gets into that Christmas Eve game with you and they can beat you, and then all of a sudden you start talking about schedules and who you played and who you beat and who they beat, and you start doing all that stuff. Okay? I don't think we go undefeated because we're going to rest players late in the year. That would be The greatest thing on the planet if they're able to do that. Okay? Yeah, hey, Kuhn, listen, no question here, okay? It's just talking about we're just talking about some of the areas of the team. I'm going to tell you one more time, man. The Eagles, that last night was probably the only time I've seen them drop down to their opponent's ability. Because Houston, I told you this yesterday, Houston was going to come play. They were going to come to play. They were going to show up, and they did. The kid Mills is not that bad, but dude, get this. They had both their wide receivers out. They had numerous dudes not playing in that game, and they still ran the ball like a maniac on the Eagle front seven. Okay? What did I see here? You're not an Eagles fan, JM. Well, you have to be a fan of what they're doing. You have to be. And you have to be a fan of what Jalen Hurts is going through right now. Can I make a point to you about Jalen Hurts here? I didn't think about it until right now. Let me go here with you on something. I didn't think about this. It's going to lead into a topic here. Here, I wrote this down. So Jalen Hurts transferred, right? Because why? He was told that Tagovailoa was better. Made him more motivated? Joe Burrow was told he wasn't good enough at Ohio State. He transferred. Russell Wilson had the job taken away from him by Mike Glennon at NC State. Mike Glennon, a journeyman in the NFL. All of these players, and plus Wilson, third rounder. Joe Burrow was the top pick because the amazing things that he did at LSU. But remember what they were saying? Burrow can't be that good. Look at all the players he had around him. All those superstar players from LSU. It's kind of what they're saying about Mac Jones with him being at Alabama. Yeah, that's right, Wilson transferred. Because the head coach came to him at NC State and told him so did Burrow transfer, and so did Jalen Hurts transfer. All three of them transferred because they had their jobs taken away from them. Mike Glennon was given that job in the offseason. I know this for a fact. And so he transfers to Wisconsin. I think he took him to the Rose Bowl. All these guys, what I'm saying, all of these guys have some sort of, you heard Boomer talking about being drafted in the second round. Dude, that was like one of the biggest shockers of all time. It's when Asai said, and you know why? Everyone, you know what they held against Boomer? The 83 draft. We had Elway, Marino, Kelly. You know, all those quarterbacks that were taken in that 83 draft might be the greatest draft in history of the NFL. The 83 draft. They were basically saying, well, there can't be a quarterback come out the following year. And that's why Boomer went in the second round. Boomer ended up being an MVP. Took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Last second drive by Montana. Won that Super Bowl. I was there on the sidelines watching that game in Miami when Montana threw that ball in the back of the end zone to John Taylor. John Candy was really on the sideline. I saw him. He was floating around the sidelines too. We were watching the game. Went over, introduced myself to John Candy. Hey, John, how you doing? I'm there. Kevin Fagan got me tickets. I'm standing on the sidelines in that Super Bowl, and I'm talking to John Candy. And Harris Barton ended up telling me the story. I think they got an illegal procedure in the last drive, and it put him back on the 10 or 12-yard line. And Montana just looked over at his guys and said, "Oh, look, there's John Candy." Everyone looked. Randy Cross goes like this. Okay, I know we're scoring now. And Montana let him right down the field. Rice was the MVP in that Super Bowl, believe it or not. D says, Dan, I'm so scared of the run defense. I'm going to get to that, I promise you. I wouldn't say scared because your secondary is spectacular. Just spectacular. Okay? Spectacular. CJ is playing. This CJ Gardner-Johnson kid, man, he is making quite a name for himself, leading the NFL in pass interceptions. He's some ball player, dude. He is. Can I say this to you without getting anybody and their panties in a bind? I'm going to say something to you. By the way, we got our predictions. And I want to talk about that. That's going to be like in hour number 3. I want to put that out there. Jalen Hurts is not going to win the MVP. He's not. He's not going to win it. Why do you think he's not going to win it? This is not hating on the kid. You tell me if what I'm saying is going to be fact or Sileo's making this up. I'll let you guys say this to me. If you think what I'm going to say to you about Jalen Hurts winning the MVP award is truth or not, or me being Dan. The league doesn't push him enough. The network shows, Fox and CBS, Amazon, Monday Night, ESPN, they talk Mahomes and Allen. Mahomes and Allen, Burrow. Mahomes and Allen, Burrow, Jalen. Mahomes and Allen, Burrow, Jalen. Is Jalen Hurts a great story? No question. Watch this. Does Jalen Hurts belong in the conversation? Maybe what I should also put in there is, does Jalen Hurts belong in the conversation for most valuable player? An idiot would say no. Of course he does. Of course he does. But we're in a land of fantasy football. We're in a land of giant numbers. Do you happen to think that the league, the way they're changing, okay, do you think that the way the league's changing the rules, where they want big numbers, 450 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, or do you want to see a guy who runs for 2 touchdowns and throws for 1 and 215 yards in the game? Do you think that? I think they look at Lamar Jackson. They don't look at Lamar Jackson in the same category. And the only reason they looked at Lamar Jackson is because he led the NFL with 36 touchdown passes. This guy threw for TDs. Wasn't so much about the yards. D Gun's right. He only threw for 3,100 that year. But he led the NFL in touchdown passes. On his way to the MVP and 1,400 yards rushing. He's one of the best open field runners in history at the position. I don't think he wins it. Now, if he were to do what Lamar did and lead the NFL in passing touchdowns, then we have more of a conversation. Forte, Hurts is not going to break the mold. He is not going to do that with voters. Voters in Los Angeles are not going to vote for Jalen Hurts with 23 touchdown passes. Even though, because why? Jimmy Garoppolo does the same stuff that Jalen does. He's no more than that except for this. Jalen runs the ball more. He's more versatile than Jimmy. Jimmy wins more. Jimmy's got the 6th highest win percentage of all time. You would never look at Jimmy Garoppolo and call him a Hall of Fame or a MVP candidate. You would never, even Boomer Esiason saying, look out for the 49ers. And I'm like, I know. 12 touchdown runs and 22 touchdown passes is not going to get you the MVP award. 50 touchdown passes and 5,500 yards is going to. Sorry. That's the reality of this. Okay? Jimmy G's defense won games. Whatever. Yeah, well then, I don't know. Maniac, every time people do that, then how come every time he's not on the field, they lose games? How come every single time that Garoppolo's not on the field, they lose ball games? At a record pace where you could fire Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, once again, is 9-29 without Garoppolo on the field. I don't know about you. You can't run from that. Hurts is way better. Again, you're talking potential. He's done nothing yet except go 8-0. Last year, we had the Cardinals go 7-0. Year before that, the Steelers won 11-0. I'd hang on to myself before you start getting crazy here. So I go back to what I said to you. Am I right? Jalen Hurts is not going to win a Most Valuable Player award because he's not going to have the numbers. I said that yesterday to you. Is it wrong? Rob was bringing that up on Sports Take, and you could see he was aggravated with it. Hey, no disrespect to anybody here, but who said everything is going to be right? And who said everything is justice? Bottom line is that's not how they vote for that thing. You know it's all by perception. It's a political award. Plus, you're going to look at Mahomes' resume. No one would ever confuse Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Ever. We don't want an MVP. We want a Super Bowl. And I believe that's what Jalen wants. Okay? So how about 16 touchdowns, 25 TDs? The squad has nothing to do with the Most Valuable Player award, bro. Don't even know what you're talking about. Seals, Allen and Mahomes pass every time on Maniac. I know. That's not what I'm saying here. And by the way, one more time, because I know some of you are depth. Okay? I believe he's the midseason most valuable player in the league. But it's not going to end that way. Dude, the national media still thinks Dak's better than the kid. I mean, so this is part of the stuff that I think drives Jalen too. I don't give a shit about regular season MVP. I care about winning home field advantage. Man, get this. This is what the Eagles are playing for now. They're not playing for undefeated. They're not playing for MVP. They're playing to get home field advantage and to make sure that the playoffs run through Philly. What's up, Will? So again, this is not hating on him. And again, I want to make it very clear. Are the three guys right now a coin flip for the MVP? Absolutely. You could watch this. If you went, Jalen Hurts wins the MVP, Sells, I'd have no problem with it. If someone went Josh Allen, I don't have a problem with it. If Mahomes, I don't have a problem with it. You're starting to see those three teams kind of separate themselves from the rest of the league. Are you not? You're starting to see them separate. Okay? It's not so much, again, an indictment on Jalen. It's an indictment on how the league is covered. It's an indictment on the voters. It's not an indictment. Do you know how many times I wanted to throw up listening to Kirk Herbstreit last night talk about Jonathan Gannon? You know how some of you guys go like this? Sills, you're not watching the same game I am. And you know I am. And you listen to them going, Jonathan Gannon has so many complex systems and so many complex schemes and how he blitzes. And I'm like, Herbstreit watches no Eagle football. Anybody who makes an asinine comment like that is not watching Eagle football. This guy's one of the best defensive minds in the game today. I heard Kirk Herbstreit say that. I almost fainted. I went like this. I go, here's a prime example of a very not intelligent analyst calling a football game. And I happen to think he's really good at the college level. When I hear an analyst in the NFL say, I've never played at Arrowhead, I might have a problem with you covering the league. I've never been to Arrowhead before. This is my first experience. Really? Okay. Well, have you ever played in the NFL? Have you even been in a training camp? The answer is no. How he got that gig? And he's talking about Jonathan Gannon last night like Jonathan Gannon's Buddy Ryan. I was floored last night listening to it. And you sit there and you're going like this. Guy, you got to be kidding me, right? I almost fainted last night when I heard him talking that shit about Jonathan Gannon. Gannon's terrible. Oh, but I guarantee you he's going to make a hell of an NFL head coach. Hey, hat on a hat. Wasn't that? He was like, this guy's going to make a hell of an NFL head. I'm like, wow. Yeah, like Josh McDaniel too, I bet. Seth Joyner said he watched the game and looked at Gannon's play card and it was one sheet with nothing on the other side. GT, why do you think that is? Jonathan Gannon's play. Here's Jonathan Gannon's defensive play sheet. Why do you think, what do you think that is? He's got 5 base defenses and he runs 4 stunts off them. And when in doubt, what does he do? Soft coverage secondary. He's got better players this year. Gannon's mentality is this. My system, better players, doesn't matter. I don't have to come up with design blitzes. I don't have to come up with exotic schemes. I have 4 base fronts and 3 coverages. We disguise them, and that's it. You know, who else has a card like this? It escapes me. He's a friend of mine. I posted a picture with me and him. Xander, who's the head football coach at Mississippi State? Who's the head football coach at Mississippi State? He's got a sheet like this. Mike Leach. Mike Leach has a sheet like this, but you know what Mike Leach has? Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Xander. But you know what Mike Leach has? I've seen it. Mike Leach has 5 formations, and the quarterback in practice is given, he'll go like this. Look, 37 wide. 37 wide. The quarterback then will come to the line of scrimmage, 42 front, 42, 37 wide. If you're on the the hash marks going into the sidelines, and you're on the short end of the field, they'll go brown set, strong, 42, and you'll start adding on to it. But that's weekday coaching. Gannon's got a piece of paper with 4 fronts and 3 coverages. Most of the shit's banjo. Okay? Most of the shit's banjo. Yet the Eagles are winning by 2 possessions almost every game. Get off my lawn. Jonathan Gannon is getting the benefit of the Eagles' record, still not playing aggressive defense. It'll haunt him. You had the shittiest team in the NFL run for 168 yards. By the way, Derrick Henry's coming to town soon. You better put some rocks in your pocket because you're going to get run over. You're going to get run over. This ain't Justin Jefferson. with lockdown corners. This is a dude that runs people over. This guy's made a career running guys over. You understand this, right? You ain't got anybody in that front seven that's going to run that guy over. He's going to run your ass over. Now, if you had big fella in there, got a different conversation. He going to run you over. I'm not saying the Titans are going to win, but you better have your mouthpiece in for this game, and you better have some extra die pads because homie's coming to town. Yeah. That guy's 6'4", 255 pounds, and when he gets an open space and you're a DB like them dudes in the secondary that the Eagles have, you better go low because he going to bring the wood. I'm not so much worried about Saquon Barkley, even though Barkley's a good back. I'm worried about that freak show in Tennessee. That guy can run the ball. How you doing? You think he's scared of anybody on that Jonathan Gannon softest pie defense? Hassan! Hey, this is what I would tell Nakobe Dean for that Tennessee game. Hey, man, you're going to be an inactive this week. Why? Well, I don't know. I feel for your health. I don't want you to get hurt out here. Hassan! I can't wait to see that matchup. Woo! Aaron Jones, too. He can run the rock. TJ, he better have his mouthpiece in for that, too, boy. Yeah. Hey, boy, here I come. Big Sills. I'm going to turn you all into my boys out here because I'm the daddy. How you doing? Matt Nagy. Love that guy. So the run defense, something to be concerned about. Like I said, though, do I think Tennessee can beat the Eagles? No, but they could keep it close. They're 5-2. They're a second seed right now. Last year, they won home field advantage in the AFC. They're not going to go anywhere in the postseason. Why? Because they don't have any wideouts. And you got to move the sticks in the postseason with wideouts. Hey, King goes 27-7 Titans. Why? Because you think your stellar defense is going to hold down Derrick Henry? When you let a dude, what was his name? Shit, last 2 weeks you've given up a 100-yard rusher, haven't you? No, Najee didn't get it last week. Dameon Pierce, who was a backup at Florida. I don't even remember him with the Gators. I don't remember him with the Gators, man. I like Aaron Jones. Problem with the Packers, you need to start taking that offense out of the hands of Aaron Rodgers and put it in Aaron Jones's hands. Steve, I don't even remember him at Florida. Xander and I were talking about the kid Pierce. I do not. He must have played for Dan Mullen. I don't remember him at Florida. I just don't. John goes, Sills, what happened to Kobe Dean? I'll show you. Hang in there. I'm going to show you what happened to Kobe Dean. Nakobe's officially on this week's milk carton. Nakobe Dean, 1-800-NovaCare. If you've seen this dude, can you please call Jonathan Gannon and Howie Roseman? You know, the greatest GM of all time. He told you that. Have you seen this guy? We have now put this dude on the milk carton and for missing persons. This is a missing person here. Nakobe Dean, 1-800-NovaCare. We have operators waiting to see if we can, if it's a ransom, let us know. Hey, there could be a ransom. If there's a ransom. Now, look, what I don't want to have to do is call the FBI and put them on America's, missing list. I'm very concerned. Nakobe Dean, missing in person. We have now officially put his name and face on every milk carton in the Philadelphia area. Also, too, if you want Jersey, they kind of count. No. There, that's what happened to Kobe. Man, don't make the milk carton. Hassan's been on that a few times, but I don't know. He's all right? Okay? Guess who's getting on there next? One more week like I see, Keith Sweat's getting on there. We're going to put Keith Sweat on there. Okay? Keith Sweat. There it is. The N'Kobe Dean milk carton. He is your award winner this week. 1-800-NOVACARE. Please call Jonathan Gannon. Seriously, man. This is really troubling because we haven't seen the kid in like weeks. Okay? We haven't. Man, you don't want to be on the Big Seals milk carton. Oh, man. Keith Sweat's just about ready. Oh, I think it's coming down between Keith Smart and Frank Sinatra Mulata. You know, they got a Christmas album coming out. Hopefully it's not, I heard there's a song on the album. Yeah. I heard there's a song on this new Christmas album that they have coming out. It's called that I'm Getting Beat on My Left Side. It's got a jazzy tune to it. You don't have to move your feet for this one, though. You just move your head. Yeah, but wait, don't you move your feet to songs? Not Mulata songs. He don't move his feet. Why should we have to? I can't wait to listen to the new Christmas album. Don't move your feet. Like Mac the Knife. Move your feet now. Don't move your feet now. You can move your head now, but not your feet now. Mulata's beat on the left side. Hey, Mac the Knife. Holy cow. Yeah, you don't have to move your feet. You just move your head. New Christmas album coming out. Right? Mulata and Keith Sweat are just about ready to get on that thing. I don't know. You're the only one laughing. PT. That's the only one I give a shit about that's laughing. It's not funny. What? Guy's getting killed on his left side because he's not sliding his feet? You must be watching a different game with those eagle blinders on. I don't celebrate Halloween. It's racist. Oh, God. I celebrate Halloween because it's free candy. Thank you. Boy, you look more into it than I do into shit. Sills, do you celebrate Halloween? Yeah. Do you celebrate Columbus Day? Yeah, you get cannolis and great amaretto. You don't look at the perks in it. I celebrate Festivus if I could. Hey, dude, Mulata gets the benefit of the doubt with me. He's going to turn it around. He's a great athlete. Okay? He's a great athlete. He's totally going to turn it around. I believe it. Keith Sweat, on the other hand, I don't know. Okay? I don't know. We're going to look at all the games coming up here too. God, there's so much. Hey, by the way, Hardgrave keeps playing like he is. I am bringing him back. Dude, 3 sacks, 3 TFLs last night. And someone goes, it's against the Texans. Is it fool's gold? God, I hope not. So the last 2 weeks, he's played the Steelers shitty line and the shitty line of the Texans. He's got 5 sacks. Yeah. Are you buying it? I don't know. Dude, hey, Maniac, if Hardgrave gets 14 sacks, he'll be all pro. He'll be all pro. He will. He'll be all pro. If he ends up doing what I'm saying he's going to do. Boy, I'll tell you, man. Look, I got to take a timeout here. Xander, right? I got to take a timeout, right? Holy cow, I just went right through the top of the hour. Didn't even think about it. Let me take a timeout. We're going to look at week 9 of the National Football League. We'll take a look at the NFC East, too, as well. Also, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I want to talk about him. God, do I love this kid. Really great. Fantastic. Robert Quinn got in the game last night a little bit, too. Okay. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Welcome back. National Football Show. It's your boy, Big Sills. Thank you so much. Thanks for stepping in with us. Thank you. Top of the hour, we'll talk about week 9 of the National Football League. I'm going to talk a little bit about, we said 8 weeks or 8 games about Jalen Hurts. I want to get into some conversation here as they have 11 days off now. Before I do that, indulge me here for about 3 minutes here with Kyrie Irving. You know, it's really great when you have a ton of money and you can say whatever you feel like it because you don't have any gauges around you like Elon Musk and all that, right? You can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, because you know what? There's very little that can happen to you when you have FU money. Most of us, you and me, we believe we have free speech. Well, your company also has a right to have a standard inside their building. So when Kyrie Irving says something about the Jewish community, he sure does have every right to say it. That's my position too. But at the end of the day, you also have accountability that you have to deal with. And the result of your free speech. A company has a right to do this. If I came out here and I start bashing people and I start doing racist things and I start saying crazy off the shit things here, every company has a standard that they want to set because he's not an independent contractor. He works for a company. He works for the NBA. He works for the Nets. Okay? So you're accountable for something. You represent something. It's taken me a long time. I always believed it too. I got free speech. I could say whatever the hell I want. Really? Okay, Dan, how's it feel when you get canned? That's my wife talking to me. Not very good. Great. You had every right to say what you wanted, but you got fired. That's their right. Well, it's not fair. Like I said, when we're talking MVP with Jalen, who said life's fair? There's certain things you get. Like if you're Kyrie Irving and you are in Brooklyn, New York, and you must be driving past 10 or 15 synagogues, you think it's in the best interest to like or to promote a guy, an Alex Smith, who has something, even if you're thinking he's right, you think that's a good look for your organization and yourself. It's dumb. Know when to, when not to. If you've got beliefs like that, you don't have to let everyone know how you feel. That's an ego thing, and that's a money thing. I mean, seriously, we all know this. Dude, everybody's going to get fired. You say something. If you stood up in your sales department and you start railing on Jews or blacks, do you truly think you're going to walk out of there with nothing less than what? An escort out of there from security. It's the dumbest things on the planet when people go, we have every right to say what we want. You do, but you also have to understand that there's consequences that come with that. There's consequences. You make a racist comment, hey, again, you're talking to the poster child for it. I made an off-the-cuff comment on the air. I have been on the air 35 years. I've made an off-the-cuff comment 13 years ago. 13 years ago. Did I mean it? Absolutely not. Doesn't matter. The company had consequences for me. And it was a mistake. Didn't matter. You represent companies. It's taken me a long time to understand this. Maybe I'm not sending send. Okay? Dank, really, think about it, Dank. For a guy like Kyrie Irving, is that a battle and a hill you want to stand on? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, sometimes you look at these guys and you go like this. Do you really want to stand on that hill? Is that the hill you want to stand on and battle? Dude, I get the vaccination hill. A lot of the things that we're finding out now were not true. 90% of that shit wasn't true. And a lot of people suppressed information. It was crazy, right? We're finding out way more now. So I kind of get that. But dude, supporting something that might offend, I'll tell you something. We had Doc Walker on. Remember Doc Walker? He was on. He's part of the broadcast team for the Washington Commanders. And I said, dude, don't you think that the Washington Commanders have lost a little bit of their identity not being the Washington Redskins anymore? He goes, Dan, if it offends 10 people, what's the deal? And I go, you're right. It's not a hill I want to stand on. That's not something I want to put my job and my life in jeopardy and my reputation in jeopardy. But when you have hundreds of millions of dollars like these guys, Kyrie Irving makes $500,000 a night. Do you know that? During the hoop season, he makes $500,000 a night. Is that a hill you want to stand on to jeopardize that? Man, you must have a lot of money in the bank. God bless you. God bless you, man. Let's move on. I'm like, I just don't get it. Thank you very much. I mean, RJ, we all have consequences, right? I'll never vote for Whitey. I'll never vote for that black. Dude, you're not keeping your gig. Hey, security? Security. Oh, could you please, deny his access into the building now? Get his key fob. Yeah. Okay. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable how people will stand on hills. Robert Quinn, let's move over that and transition into that. Okay. JoJo says Dave Chappelle is the genius level. He's exempt. JoJo, it's because he makes you think about how idiotic things are and how we don't have a sense of humor and sarcasm that's been lost today. I mean, the great comedians of the past, Richard Pryor, all that stuff. I don't know if Richard could work today. Richard's my favorite comedian of all time. Let me know I love that guy. One of the greatest comedians of all time. Okay? Robert Quinn is on the bus, says Steve. Dude, what's up with 7 snaps? Wind this guy up and let him run into somebody. Put his ass out there. Okay? Let him run into somebody. Just wind him up. Let him roll. Thank you, RJ. Just wind his ass up, right? Let him roll into somebody. 7 snaps? Dude, you're not getting anything out of Keith Sweat. I mean, this guy's perpetrating himself as Keith Sweat. I'm looking for Josh Sweat. I ain't seen him yet. Have you? Put this guy, give him some reps. Now, hopefully they start up in that and he starts getting more reps. 7 snaps? Come on, man. They threw the ball around the yard. They threw it around last night. Wasn't very productive. The passing offense of the Texans. You know what I'm saying? It's not just shut up and play anymore. And nor should it be, Jay. Nor should it be. Guy has something to say? Consequences come with it all. Keith Sweat. Yeah, that's his name until he shows me he's Josh Sweat. Okay? He's Keith Sweat. Records available. Yeah. Records are available. Dude, you got to start showing up here, man. You got to start showing up. I'm going to get to Jalen here in a minute. Tell you what, let's do that now. Let's get to Jalen now. Okay. Let me take a look at Jalen's statistics right now. I want to ask you a question here about Hurts. Fairly. Jalen Hurts stats. Here we go. Okay. Jalen Hurts right now is on pace for 4,339 passing yards. At 26 touchdowns, 4 picks, 107.8 passer rating. He was 21 of 27 last night, 243 and 2 touchdowns. Right around the number, 250. Remember we said 250 yards per game would put him in the 4,000 passing category. All that, we're at the 8-point mark now. How do you think Howie looks at him? Eight games. By the way, since the 2-5 start, Jalen Hurts is 16-4. Well, I think he's maybe 15-4 because Gardner Minshew started that Jets game. So he's probably somewhere in the 15-4 range. Or no, 15-4. 15 or 16-4. He's somewhere in there right now. Then he goes 4,035 total touchdowns. That won't win you the MVP, but that's a heck of a season. Based off of growth from last year, that is Forte. That's a great one. Let's do this, because I think what Forte just said, you said never. I did, Sean, and I still hold to that. Nothing's changed. He's not there yet. You don't know that either. Okay? Sean goes, you're never right. I did pick Robert Quinn last week to go to the Eagles. Do you forget that? You missed that, Sean? Or is this just one of those random comments? Okay. Look at the growth that he's had from a year ago to now. You think that growth continues? Or is Jalen who he is? By the way, Devontae Smith's not benefiting from having Jalen Hurts as his quarterback. He's not. He's not benefiting. One bit. He's on pace for 900 yards. Might actually get less yards than he did last year. He ain't benefiting. Goddard and AJ are. Devontae's not. That's where I'm going, Andrew. He's got to have everything around him perfect for him to be a franchise quarterback. If it's not, I'm not sure he is. You could say that about a ton of people. Look at how Kyler Murray looked without DeAndre Hopkins. Shit, look how Joe Burrow looked without Jamar Chase on Monday night. You could say the only guy that I see that kind of like Brady forever, I don't know now. Patrick Mahomes doesn't need Tyreek Hill. That guy is a beast. Omar says, and Josh Allen doesn't. I don't know that. I don't know. That's my point, Omar. That's the point I'm making. To be a quarterback that can carry a football team on his back, Dak can't carry a football team on his back. They grossly overpaid, and get this, they grossly overvalued Dak Prescott in Dallas. Did they not? Garoppolo's got better stats than him. Garoppolo wins more than him. You guys think he's horseshit. Well, guess what? You're paying him $9 million. I'm good with paying Jimmy G $9 million. That's a steal. That Prescott $42 million? That's highway robbery. Okay? That's highway robbery. No one's ever going to go like this on Jimmy Garoppolo. Dude, this guy's got a terrible contract. No one has ever said that. Garoppolo has been kind of in the right room. 42-17, 5-2 in the postseason. He's been to a couple of conference championship games, won one, went to a Super Bowl. No one would confuse him with those other dudes that I'm mentioning. However, he wins as much, or if not more than those guys. You want to hear something? Over the last 6 years, Garoppolo's got a better record than Aaron Rodgers, who just won two consecutive MVPs. There's very few quarterbacks that have a better record over the last 5 years than Jimmy G. Who has a better record? Mahomes and Brady. The rest of them don't. And you could say, well, he's not very good. It doesn't add up when you say that. Just doesn't add up. And he's making $9 million. The point is, how much does Jalen need Howie Roseman around him to continue to build the team? By the way, the reason I bring this up, this is going to be the selling point to Jalen. Hey, Jalen, I know you're having a great year. Son, you really are having a great year. Steve goes, Jimmy G equals Dak Prescott. Not even remotely close. Dak's got one postseason win. Garoppolo's got 5. Not even remotely close. He's got a higher win percentage, higher quarterback rating, higher completion percentage. Not true. Once again, Steve, not true. Not true. So when Howie goes to him and they have these conversations about future and where you want to go, is this, well, you need A.J. Brown around you. You need Dallas Goedert. We pay you $50 million, $45 million. You're not having one or two of those guys. You're just not. Jalen's not the same player without A.J. Brown. And again, that's not just Jalen. That's a theme. Shit, and by the way, Devontae Adams has meant nothing to Derek Carr. There's another one out there. CeeDee Lamb? You think CeeDee Lamb has picked up where Amari Cooper was in Dallas? I don't. He does not have the same impact in Dallas that Amari had. Okay? He doesn't. Even Allen needed Diggs. Okay. There's very few of these guys that can carry. Jalen can't carry that team by himself. Okay? You put him on the Jets, he's going nowhere. But that's not just Jalen. It's not an indictment. It's how you perceive what $40 million means to you. If you don't have the most complete, you can't build a complete team. There's no complete team in the NFL right now with a quarterback making $50 million. There's not one. What's the deficiency in Buffalo? They really don't have a running game. What's the deficiency in Kansas City? I think that hurts these two teams, by the way, getting into the postseason. Kansas City don't have a running game. Kansas City doesn't really have high-powered wideouts any longer. Juju Smith-Schusters, perennial number twos. You don't have – Kelsey, I get it. Sure, Hall of Fame guy. But the wide receiving core? Bunch of twos. Market price is what gets you in trouble, Shakir, because that's what everybody kept saying to us about Kyler Murray and about Dak Prescott. Look at those two franchises. You're not winning shit with those two guys. You're not winning shit with those two guys. And you overpaid for both of them. You think the Cardinals are going to win the Super Bowl ever? Never. 46.1. Okay. We'll see. Shit, man. I think the Cardinals are going to be an organization. I'll be looking for a new GM and head coach at the end of the year. Watson, Cooper, and Chubb. I don't think Chubb. By the way, PT, he's on an escalator contract. That shit don't kick in. The guaranteed contract, he's still on that Texans deal. You got to remember, he signed an extension which guaranteed the $230 because it was a trade. You traded the contract. He had just signed a 3-year contract extension with the Texans. So the guaranteed $230 is on an escalator. He's not making that money yet. He's not making 46.1 yet. That kicks in the year after. Smart. It was a trade, if you remember right. They traded him for draft picks. And he had signed that 185 with the Texans. Shit, 18 months earlier, too. I never got that deal. You signed him to a $178 million contract, and you turn around and trade DeAndre Hopkins. Completely made no sense. Okay? Eagles need to install more motion in their offense. William, if they do that, you're going to see even less targets for because what happens when you do motion? Oh, you're talking about crossing motions? Why complicate it? They run a very base offense. It's not a complicated offense. Bob says, Dan, Sills, Shane Steichen needs to scheme D. Smith into the flow of the offense. Yeah. It'd be nice. Dude, that's your golden nugget when the contracts all start popping up at the end of this year and next year when Jalen's deal will kick in. They'll give him a bonus here. Okay, and that will appease him for 1 year, but then his base salary will go up to what Dak makes. That could spell the end for AJ. You want Devontae in that mix to where he's your guy and your go-to dude. Getting 2 catches a game is not going to cut it. I mean, how many games have we seen? 2 catches. I mean, there's a game this year already. He's had no catches. RPO is a tricky deal. Why is RPO tricky? RPO offenses, you know why? It's a running version of rollout. What happens when you go RPO? You're behind the center. You go down the line of scrimmage like this. You're reading that safety or linebacker. You either pull it, throw it, hand it. But what are you doing? You're managing half the field. The guy who's lined up over there is a non-factor. He's a non-factor in the play sequence. When you go to your right and you're reading that guy in that RPO, you're not throwing it back. He's got to read the safety. Do I keep it and run? Do I throw it on the seam to the tight end or a wide receiver coming? Because what are you doing? You're shortening the field when you're doing the RPO. Or do I hand it to my back? Guys over on the left side, you're a non-factor. You could take the play off. AJ is already on a deal with the Eagles. You're under some assumption that these things are guaranteed, Derek. They're not. And we're seeing more teams take hits with big contracts. Why? Because you could defer the money with the new collective bargaining agreement. Unlike the previous agreement, which those contracts killed you, like the Alshon Jeffries deal still on the books here for the Eagles. Alshon Jeffries, you're still paying $5 million for him this year. Do you know that? Alshon is still on the books with that shitty contract that Howie signed. He's still on the books. This is last year. It's off the books March 17th or something when the new year starts. Still got 5 point something on there with him. Another great move. RPO cuts out one of the quarterback's reads. That's right. That's right, Bob. The RPO is designed for the quarterback not to have to read progression reading and sitting back there and going through his reads. It's exactly what RPO is designed for. It's exactly. It's almost taken from like the wishbone, but you got better players at it today than you did like with the Jamal Holloways and those guys back in the day, those Thomas Lott guys that ran it for Oklahoma back in the day. They're better passers like Jalen. They're better passers in the RPO. Josh Allen. If we give Jalen $40 million, there's no way we keep this team assembled, even under the new cap. And Joseph, look at how Howie constructed this team. You know, you guys keep talking to me about like a dynasty. 14 guys are free agents. Where do you see that? And Joseph, I'm not saying it's you, but when people say this team's going to be good for the next 5 years, where are you seeing that? The line's great. O-line. Struggling last 2 weeks, tad, not much. I'm not freaking out over it. And Mulata, I think, writes it. I do. I think Mulata writes it. Though there was something going on with the snap count, too. Something really weird, man. I don't know. Maybe the Echoes at Reliant or whatever. I don't know. They weren't, I mean, Lane was getting off the line of scrimmage at times. I saw Lane late. I was like, there was something really weird with the snap count. I'm not blaming Jalen for that. It could be Kelsey. Because he's also part of the blocking scheme. Jojo goes, we don't want another Wentz situation. Jojo, I don't think you're going to be in that with him. But what I do think is this. Just like Wentz needed to have components around him, Jalen's going to have those same type of body parts around him. Dude, A.J. Brown, I don't know who's been a bigger acquisition, A.J. or C.J. Those two dudes are they're just spectacular players. For the Saints to do this, do you know what Xander went? Xander, didn't you say this to me? Sills, we fleeced Xander goes like this, we fleeced the Saints. I'll say, you got the 4th pick in the draft and you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Shit, dude. You won't find a better DB in the draft coming up. Maybe the kid from Georgia. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson, this kid can play and he's young and he's good. The Saints, look how they effed up Mickey Loomis, the general manager. You signed Honey Badger, gave him all that money, and then you let this guy walk out the building? I do not get that. That's not a smart move. Saints had 2 dumb moves. That Taysom Hill move I never got. Sean Payton liked him, so he gave him $10 million a year. Think of that. Taysom Hill's a gadget player. At best. Look how organizations screw up sometimes giving people the wrong money or the wrong people the money. You gave Taysom Hill $10 million? Why? He's not even a starting quarterback. I mean, he's not even a shitty starting quarterback. He makes $10 million a year. You're like, what? When he was at BYU, I thought he was suspect. I'm like, I don't know. He's kind of a better throwing version of Tebow. That's how I saw him. I wish somebody liked me enough to give me $10 million. Really? Come in situationally and be a gadget guy? Here's $10 million? I mean, dude, this guy made more money than 90% of that offense sitting on the bench. Mulata struggled with Hughes, I'll say, and Hightower the week before. When it comes to athletic edge rushers, Mulata has a rough game. I still, hey, watch this. I still think he's learning the position. He's got to get his feet up. He's got to pick his feet up better. He's got to pick him up and put him down better. Because you know what they're doing? They're taking wide angles on him. And they're making him slide his feet. Then they come underneath. And you got the tackle doing a loop to protect him, making sure that you keep containment. He tortured him last night. It was the worst game I've seen Jordan Mulata play. Absolutely. That was not a very good. And Michael Parsons will annihilate him if he's playing the way he's playing right now like that. You can't allow Parsons. Hell, you can't even allow Lawrence to get on that edge like that because they'll get around you. They're good pass rushers. Tennessee has some pretty good players, especially the kid inside. Yeah, his footwork is off. Maybe he's a little hurt. Jacob, I'm going to give him the benefit. Okay, I am. I'm going to give him the benefit of this. Is Mulata's footwork a product of him compensating for his bad shoulder? Yeah, could be. Why? because you can't extend. You can't extend. Okay, this guy likes to get his hands on people, right? When you can get your hands on people, you don't really have to slide your feet that much. This guy's probably got vice grips. So what happens if you got a shoulder where you can't extend? You kind of alligate a little bit. And what happens when you alligator it because your shoulder, you can't extend it? What happens? You keep it here, and what is it? They get around you on the edge because you didn't extend your hands. Those big, long tackles, those left tackles have long-ass arms. But if you're doing this and you're alligating it and you got a big-time edge rusher coming, he's going to beat you 90% of the time doing that. And they know it. And they know it. Okay? They know it. So I said the same thing last night. I think he's a little bit shorter corner. Exactly, Big Pickin'. It's a shorter corner. Now watch. When I'm extended like this, you got to get wider. When I'm here, because my shoulder can't extend, think about that. Dude, you can't get that. You can't get your hand up on him. If they beat your first step, you're beat. It's all. A guy by the name of Lamar Leachman coached me in Detroit. And I love Lamar. He coached Lawrence Taylor. He coached Leonard Marshall. All them guys in New York during Parcells' time. He was the defensive line coach. And I got him when I was in Detroit. Do you know what we used to practice? Footwork. He used to have little pads out. And we used to practice footwork. If Bellata's not getting his foot out, or he's getting his foot out like this, and his arm is inside, he's beat. And you're going to attack that. You're going to watch him on film and see it. All right, let me take a timeout. Hour number 3, we'll look at week 9 of the National Football League. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Hour 3, National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. I'm the greatest general manager of all times. Of all time. I thought I was watching Muhammad Ali. Nobody can get around me, man, because I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. Hoorah-hoo! I'm the general manager of general managers. My name is King Roseman. Don't forget it. I'm the one that gave you peasants your Super Bowl in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Always remember that. Bow at my feet. Bow at my feet. I gave it to you. I gave you a Super Bowl. It was me. Not the players. It was me. I built the kingdom. I'm the greatest. I did this. I did that. I dug us out of this. I did this. I'm the greatest. Forte, you're right. Hard to talk shit, man, and be smooth about it. Take it from yours truly. Yeah. Hey, you talk about, you want to get under somebody's skin? Tell them you're better than them. Hey, you know what Xander said to me? He goes like this. Did you have a problem with it? No. I just thought it showed a lot of cannolis. Here's Howie, man. Howie sees that group over there sitting. By the way, we'll get to week 9 of the NFL here in a second here. We'll get to those. We'll get to the games here in a second. Yeah, man. This guy just... I'm the king, and I'm the guy. I'm the dude. I did it. Yeah. Guy was letting it out, man. Guy was letting everybody know who the king is. Hey, by the way, hang on. Hang on. I got some more information for you guys. Got some more information on Jordan Mailata. I'm becoming friends with, guess who? Jeff Stoutland. I didn't know he was a Hurricane. Yeah, excuse me. He was a Hurricane before he was an Alabama Crimson Tide. So how's that for you, bro? He was a Hurricane. Jeff Stoutland's a Hurricane. Leave my Howie alone. You know those Trumpy bears? We should get Howie bears. Look at I got a Howie bear. I got a Howie bear for Christmas. It is, man. To respect, respect Miami and Alabama. And now he's doing what he's doing with the Eagles. I think Jeff Stoutland's pretty much been at pretty good places, man, making an impact. Hey, I need a Howie bear for Christmas. Can I get a Howie bear? You know, like those Trumpy bears? And inside you got like instead of the American flag, in the Trumpy bear, you've got an eagle flag. And you pull the eagle flag out. And then your Vask, of course. Why? And you're sitting there going, look at my Howie bear. I got a Howie bear. I love the Howie bear. Sills, don't hate I have a Trumpy bear. I'm not hating anything, man. I'm not hating, man. Are you kidding me? I want a Howie bear. And then you pat it on the back and it goes like, see, what you got to do with the Howie bear, though, is you got to clap. And when you clap, it says, I am the king. I did this. I brought this. You keep clapping like the clapper, you know, the lights go on and off. When you clap, the Howie bear goes, I am the one that built the team. I did this. Okay. Brian, how you doing, brother? Thanks for coming aboard. Please hit the like button. You could buy it for a super price of $41.33. Thank you, Dank. How about Reddick? Get off the bus. Get home. Reddick. Awesome. How come every time I see that guy on a football field, the referee looks bigger? You mean Stoutland was a criminal? Don't say that stuff, man. My daughter watches the show, man. When she first heard that, and she saw those 30 for 30s that my boy Billy Corbin made. I went to school with Billy, and I love Billy Corbin. He's been on our show actually here. So my daughter comes back to me, man. I think she was in middle school the first time she saw it. You were a criminal, Dad? No. Well, what was it? Why was it convicts versus criminals? I'm not a criminal. She goes, they said you were a criminal because you played at Miami. They made T-shirts. Okay? They made T-shirts. And they said that I was a criminal. It's not true, though. Ugh. Love Smashing Pumpkins. Howie, man. Did he not build it? Yes. Oh, he what? Are you kidding me? Without how I even had a back and forth with D Gunn. Come on, man. He put the team together. That don't mean you bring Super Bowls. That's Chip Kelly. Just because you assemble a football team, that don't mean you win. What, you think Dave Dombrowski thought he was going to get to the World Series this year, beginning of the year? Players, man, they win titles. GMs don't. Ask Michael Jordan. He'll tell you the same thing. Players win titles. It's players. They're the ones that have to go out and play. They're the ones that have to go out there and put their ass on the line. Coaches, too. GMs. I did this. I did that. Holy criminy. Guy's throwing it around, man. Your GM. How about the way he was? Hey, I gave you a Super Bowl. Be grateful. You want another one? Yeah. You want me to pay $400 a ticket? Yeah. This ain't like back in the days, man, where you could get into an NFL game for $25. I mean, this is a $350 ticket now, guy. Yeah. You want a stadium? Okay. You want retrofitting on the link? Okay. Hey, yeah, I do. Having season tickets nowadays in the NFL, you got to make a decision whether you're going to have that, or it's not a lot of people have disposable income like that where, hey, I'll just sit and want to watch a shitty team for, 10 years. I'm not doing that. No longer is build it and we will come. No. You pay now, then we'll build it. Nobody does that. Build a champion. I'll show up. Okay? Maniac. Big Sills Bear. 9 easy payments of $24.99. Comes with Sills. Use Black Polo. Just pay separate. Yes. Also, too, you know what it comes with? It comes with a shit-talking chatty box. Hey. Jerry Jones. Oh, Howie's Jerry Jones. I did this. I did that. I did this. I did that. I'm the best. How about them draft choices, dog? I don't know. You're not, last 2 years have been good. The rest of them, it's all good. You're pretty good in free agency. I pointed it out to you yesterday. When this guy fails, he goes out in free agency. He does a nice job. Dude, how about this? Let's do this with Howie before we get into week 9. What has Howie Roseman's best move been? It could be Jalen. It could be. But what has his best move been since he's been the general manager of the Eagles? What's the best move? Tell me. What's his best move that he's made since 2000 when he wasn't in charge of personnel. It's not fair. His time as personnel guy. A.J. Brown. Who brought T.O. in? Can you tell me, guys? Who brought T.O. in? Was that Joe Banner? Was that Joe Banner and Andy Reid that brought T.O. in? Hurts could be. Wentz? Wentz is his best deal? Wentz? Banner brought in T.O., so he doesn't get credit for T.O. Who drafted Deshaun Jackson? Who drafted Deshaun? Then you should charge your viewers a daily charge to participate on your show. Thank you very much, Elon Musk. Hurts was a great pick. We'll see. Chalk It Up Sports says it was Andy that drafted Deshaun. Okay. McNabb recruited T.O. Okay. Once again, I'm going to go back and ask the question. What has Howie Roseman's best move been as a leader in personnel for the Philadelphia Eagles? What's his best move? Getting a first for Wentz after the season was a pretty good move. Wouldn't have got Devontae without it. Well, Devontae's not much of a factor on your football team right now. Okay, so I look at Devontae. That guy's not a game changer to me. Since he's been an Eagle, he's not a game changer. No disrespect to anybody here, but I watch A.J. Brown play. Woo! And by the way, it's not Devontae Smith's fault. And let's be candid here. You took Devontae instead of Micah Parsons. And you're in desperate need of an edge rusher. If you had to go back and do that all over again, and I know it's hindsight, even the Cowboys don't know they landed on that guy, and I give you that. It's not like the Cowboys were some sort of like wizards. They wanted the kid Patrick Surtain. We all know that. Oh, look what we got here. Yeah, they didn't even know what they had until they got Dan Quinn in the building. So the Cowboys pretend like, oh, yeah, we targeted him. And no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Right. Yeah, hindsight, exactly. The kid's a good player. It's not like we're looking at Jalen Reagor here. He's far from that. Smith is Parsons on offense. Dude, Devontae Smith does not have the impact in games that Micah Parsons has. I hope that smiley face is a joke because I think it is. Parsons totally fell in their lap. Like Brady fell into New England's lap. Think about it. You know what? You think about Howie's move with Jalen. That didn't fall into Howie Roseman's lap. He had to pick that guy with a pretty high pick. As he got into the second round, Jalen Hurts, you could have went anywhere. And he took him. That was a gamble. Looks like it's going to pay out. Brandon says, so far, AJ. So in the 22 years or whatever time he has as a leader in personnel, Roseman's best deal has been a trade. And if you want, over the last 3 years, his best moves have been C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, A.J. Brown. Not his draft picks. Landon Dickerson's turning out to be pretty good. He took the advice from Jeff Stoutland. But can you tell me a rookie who's had more impact under Howie Roseman than any of his free agent acquisitions or trades? Can you tell me? GMs are not defined by one move. They are 53 dudes on a roster. Then why keep your draft picks if you suck at it? Why not do what the Rams do? You know why? Because Howie's smarter than Les Snead. Howie knows he needs to have certain guys like the Marcus Epps, the Milton Williams. He knows that to be able to have high volume and high salary guys. Les Snead doesn't give a shit about draft picks. That's why their team is in chaos. Dude, the Rams and the Bucks would not want to be on them ball clubs. Would not want to be on them, especially the Rams. Dude, you're going freaking. The reason that Pete Carroll, not only the fact that it was time to get Russell Wilson out of the building, you heard Boomer Esiason him. Boomer, I thought, was pretty critical of Russell Wilson. I thought he was pretty critical. But because of the Jamal Adams deal, Seattle had to get out of that because they gave all those draft picks up. What was it, 3 to the Jets? They had to move his ass so that they can get their franchise back with some future. Look at what they have this year. They got 2 number 1s. Howie traded for Lane Johnson? Where was Lane? I thought Lane was drafted by the Eagles. I did not know that. I had forgotten. Andrew goes, Tom Brady is the biggest winning lottery ticket of all time. You know, but Andrew, Chip Kelly drafted Lane. I thought he did too. Hey, I would say you're right about Belichick, but Bill's drafted 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So Bill does have a kind of an eye for it. Jacoby Brissett starts. Garoppolo starts. Brady starts. And Mac Jones starts. Shit, he's got a guy behind him that also starts. He had Matt Castle, who didn't start at Southern Cal, won a division title. Guy's got an eye for, he may not have an eye for drafting wideouts, but he's totally got an eye for the quarterback position. Yeah, I thought Lane was drafted. Chip did it. The whole O-line are drafted. Yeah, no, his best, I think his best move that he's made, who drafted Jason Kelce? Drafting Lane, it's a great pick. Who drafted Jason Kelce? I don't think Chip drafted him. I think Reed did. That would be Joe Banner then. Right? It'd be Banner and Andy. Okay? I think Howie was still in the personnel department in there. I don't think he was the head dog yet, though. So, but Andy had a lot to do with that. How about Andy, man? So he drafts both Kelce guys? Is that right? He drafted both Kelce kids? Whew. That's pretty amazing, right? Drafted both Kelce guys? They're both going to Hall of Fame. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely nutty. Getting back to Howie. His best move is either A.J. Brown or who? And Sanders right. You see, this is where Howie's good. I think Howie, here's my assessment of him. Call himself the greatest general manager of all time. I don't know. Okay. Here's what makes him good, though. And it's a strength. He fails a lot. So do other GMs. Would we not agree that some of these acquisitions that Howie wrote, I'll tell you what I've never seen. I've never seen more free agents put on a football team that are all excelling. Your 2011 Dream Team was a colossal signing of failures. It was, and that's normal. Anytime you see a team with a shitload of moves in the offseason, it never pans out. Look at all the new faces. Everyone, what's this? Kaiser White, totally panning out. CJ, completely panning out. Bradbury, Darius Slay, completely panning out. Hassan Reddick, watch this. As much as I give that kid shit, he's panning out too. He's not a failure. What was the kid, Ryan Kerrigan? That's a bomb. That's failure. You sign a guy and he sucks so bad and you thought he was going to be an impact guy? Bro, we see that all the time, guys going into new places and are colossal disasters. CJ was traded for, has been an absolute maniac. Oh, absolutely, Sydney. His free agent moves in the last 2 years has saved his reputation on his shitty drafts. And the last 2 years, he's hit on his drafts. So now what you're looking at is you're looking at a guy here who's combining both. Less needing Los Angeles, he's not combining both. He's not. This guy just went all in on free agency, and he went like this, screwed the draft picks. And guess what? Now it's come back to haunt them. They have no equity when they need to make a move for something. They have no equity. They wanted the kid Brian Burns. They offered 2 1s. In 3 years from now, the Carolina Panthers went, I don't think so. 3 years from now, we may be on our second head coach by then. They went, no way. The Rams offered 2 number 1s for Brian Burns. But they were spread out over 3 years because they don't have the draft. I think their next draft pick is like 2025. Like they went like this. Hey, no. David Tepper went, we're not going there with a 24-year-old pass rusher. What are we, stupid? 24-year-old pass rusher you're going to give up for draft picks 3 years later. No way. But see, I'll tell you what. Trading has been dealt a completely different facelift, and it's because of Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy made all those draft choices and all those trades when he was there. It started with Jimmy. When Jimmy started making these deals, he looked at it and said, I'm going to get as many draft picks as I possibly can. And if I need to go get a Charles Haley, or if I need to go get a Tony Casillas, or if I need to go find somebody, I'm going to take some of my draft equity and I'm going to go get it and plug a hole with them. That's what Howie's doing. Howie's doing the same thing. Hey, you don't, and I guarantee, and listen to this, all kidding aside, he's not the only general manager that bombs on some draft picks. Draft picks, to me, are the biggest crapshoot going. Look at Nakobe Dean. This guy can't see the field. But do it again, you guys. I don't know. You can't get on the field? I question the guy's ability now. I question the guy's ability. I mean, you can't tell me steal of the draft and the kid can't see the field. Well, our guys are balling. So he never plays. Like, ever. He never gets snaps. I never see him go into a game ever except for special teams. I don't know. Really. Jimmy Johnson made 66 transactions to put that team over the top in 5 years. You're damn right. That's what dude, they were 1-15. I was there for that. They were 1-15. They had so many old dudes on that team. It was ridiculous. Now, there's one thing that Howie also has to deal with that Jimmy didn't. A salary cap. Coach Johnson didn't have a salary cap back in the day. And I thought that's what really kind of slowed him up when he got to Miami. Then he had to start dealing with numbers too, not just getting draft guys that you could hoard, keep on your team for 10 years, and you completely have the rights to those guys. These general managers today, I mean, Howie Roseman looks at the Eagles. You know what he sees? He sees the 2025 Eagles. He doesn't see the 2022 Eagles. He sees the 2025, how it looks. He's constantly going to have to look at numbers. When you get a game from Hargrave last night, you know what? Can I tell you what I think Howie does? He did it against the Texans. That's not going to impress me to keep him at 13-9. I agree with him. He had 2 sacks against the Steelers, and he had 3 sacks against the Texans. All be important. Howie's not going to keep that guy. He's going to go like this. $13 million? No, thank you. Because then you're going to have to up his salary. You know what the benchmark is? If you're going to franchise tag somebody, the market price for a good DT like that is $15 million. He's not paying that money. Not saying that Hargrave would get it. He'll make $10, $12 million, though. Howie may go, I don't know. I don't know. I think Hargrave is in that conversation that you might want to bring him back. But he's up this year. He's a free agent at the end of the season. That's going to predicate a lot of what they do. So I'm telling you, under his breath, publicly he's going to go into the locker room. He's going to really slap Hargrave on the back, one of his guys, really happy for him. But when he's talking to Jeffrey Lurie and he's talking to his cap guys, no. You have to do a hell of a lot more than that. To have me keep it at $12.9 million. He's streaky. He is. I'll tell you what, too. I think he was out of position a little bit. With the injury to Jordan Davis, drop that guy into his natural position at nose. This guy was a nose guard. This guy's played the position. Put him over it. And put the kid Wilson in the game. The kid Wilson didn't do that bad at it, actually. Thought he got his hands up and moved his feet pretty good inside of traffic. But put Hargrave on there. Put Hargrave on there and put Milton Williams and Fletcher Cox on the guards. Play a 50 front. You can get away with that until the big dude gets back. He's a factor. I mean, I didn't really think that. You know what? I thought he had been playing well, but I'll tell you, you could tell he is missed. He's missed. There's no doubt. Jordan Davis is missed. Howie might get another DT at draft time. Probably second or third. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of them, too. It's going to be a really deep class. You know, Yale, it's funny you say that. Is Jordan Davis a game changer? How about this, Yale? Do you think that Vince Wilfork was a game changer? He's got 3 Super Bowls. You think Vince was a game changer? Seals, I think we need to do more run stunts up front and mix and match. I think you got to do more of that on first and second down. And you have to understand where you are in the field. He's a Hall of Fame nose. I think he is important. You see, he stopped the run. And if you could stop the run, what's the most important thing in today's NFL for quarterbacks? Play action. So that is a factor. If I've got you in 2nd and 8, that's a factor in pass, right? He may not have to have big sack numbers to impact the passing game. You feel me? Because if I'm constantly putting opposing quarterbacks in 2nd and 8, you're winning that. The majority of the time, I'm winning that. I like the Bear front. Vita Vea is another one of them kind of game-changing type guys. He's in the game and he's playing at his best. Bucks are tough to move the ball on. Hey, Sills, do you know about the story of Vince Papale? I got a helmet over here. I'll show you something, Nick. I'm going to take a timeout, Nick. I got to take a timeout. Week 9 of the NFL. And, Nick, you tell me if I know the story of Vince Papale. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Back, National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. Appreciate you guys coming aboard here on a Football Friday, and I swear we're going to get to Week 9 of the National Football League. Where are you, Nick? Okay, you asked me if I knew the story of Vince Papale. Let me show you what Vince gave me. I think you'll think this is pretty cool. Vince Papale, incredible, 83, and the Army Navy guys and USAA are my boys. I love them guys. I still do some work for them now. So do you think I know Vince? Pretty cool. That was the helmets a couple of years ago for the Army Navy game. It was in Philly too, by the way. Gee, I must have been to the link at least 7 times now. At least 7 times. Yeah, you guys like that, man? I think it's in Philly this year, too, isn't it? Look at that. Vince Papale. Vince is a good dude, man. I don't know if you'll ever see anything like that. It'd be like Xander walking off the street, walking down to Nick Sirianni going, hey, I run a 4.340. Can you give me a tryout? Doesn't work like that anymore. It just doesn't work like that. Then again, that's why the Mulata story, okay, the Mulata story is a freak show too. Finding a guy who's never even laced up cleats before when it comes to football cleats and putting a mouthpiece in for football games or even putting a helmet on is remarkable. I've seen the movie, Nick. I like the movie. I actually went to the premiere, and Mark Wahlberg, I sat a couple seats from him, and we talked about it. He got in all kinds of shape for it. By the way, he's a Patriot fan, though, just so you know. He's a New England Patriot fan because he's from Boston. I think he's a Southie guy. So, yeah, no, JoJo. I covered it for USAA, and I go to Army Navy, and every time I go to Army Navy, I sit with the Secretary of the Navy, and we sit there and we watch. I've got pictures of me with General Scotty Mitchell, head of NATO, 5-star General Dempsey, he turned out to be head of USA Basketball, General Dempsey. I've got my cousin and I, we went down, we met Trump when he went to the game. I mean, I've got so many pictures of the Army-Navy game. I've been on the field numerous times for the walkout. I used to say this all the time about that game. Army-Navy's the shittiest game on the planet. I mean, you got 250-pound defensive tackles playing against guys, and I'm like, come on, I played against big-time Miami, Florida State, Miami. And then until I got a chance to be around the people that play in the game. These men and women go out, and then to put their lives on the line. There's many men that play in the Army-Navy game that don't come back from service. And you realize it's more than just football. It's probably the last true college football game that we play today, because there's really nothing on the other side for these guys except this, serving their country. And so you respect that 10 times more, because they have the same fight we do when we play Florida State or we play Florida. But these men that participate in this game, some of them will lose their lives. They'll lose their lives. And, you respect it. The march out is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I have so much respect for the military. It's probably I used to go to that, I used to turn down going to Super Bowls and not turn down Army-Navy, because I used to go back and forth between Baltimore and Philly. And so I would go back and forth between Baltimore and Philly. I must have did that for 8 years. There was 2 things that I did consistently, more so than even the Super Bowl. I went to the Daytona 500, and I'm not even really a NASCAR fan, but 250,000 people can't be wrong, right? I think it was more of a me thing. So I would show up to like Daytona, and I got to friends with many of the drivers there. Met Dale Earnhardt. I got a bunch of stuff. I got one of the last pieces of the original finish line before they repaved it at Daytona. And you see all the military people that show up for the Daytona 500. It's pretty cool. It's an awesome event, man. The Daytona is one of my favorite events that I've ever been to. I just love it. Absolutely. Let's get to week 9 of the NFL. CFL playoffs start Sunday. Oh, I will definitely be watching. Big Sills, alumni of CFL football too. Not a league on the North America continent, man. I hadn't played in. I mean, the new ones I haven't. I almost went to the USFL. That's a fact. I almost played, believe it or not, for Trump. Oh, the Orlando Rage too. The Orlando Renegade, excuse me. I almost played for them too. That we all went up, and I met with Lee Corso. He was running the team in Orlando. And they wanted to pay me all this money, man. And I go back, and Jimmy goes, "You really want to take the money?" And I go, "I don't know, man." And we all said, "Well, let's get drafted." So we came back for one more year. But I was thinking of going and playing in the USFL. They wanted to pay me like $100,000. That's a lot of money in 1985, 84 in there. And I was like, I don't know, man. I talked to Robustelli about it. Talladega's a great race. That's a list. Let's get to the games. Chargers at Atlanta. The greatness of a franchise quarterback like Justin Herbert. Woo! 27-21, Chargers beat Atlanta. Atlanta's playing good ball. Miami at Chicago, Tagovailoa. You talk about a pure... Tagovailoa throws the ball better than Jalen. 31-20. Miami over Chicago in the Windy City. Carolina at Cincinnati, my boy Joe Burrow. Another franchise quarterback. You talk about sensational. They win 29-19. Green Bay at Detroit, one of the great victories, according to Eagle fans, that they've had this year in their 8-0 start, beating the Lions, who've had one win this year. 31-24. Green Bay. Indy at New England. Frank Reich, man, I love you. You know I do. This ain't looking good. New England wins 28-20. Who's that quarterback from Texas that they're now starting in Indianapolis? Hey, by the way, do you know why Jim Irsay? I'm going to tell you a secret, and I'm not going to tell you who told me. And if you put 2 and 2 together on my first guest or my guest this show in the first hour, you'll get it. Do you know why they're sitting Matt Ryan? Why do you think they're sitting Sam Ehlinger, right? The Texans. Why do you think they're sitting Chris Ballard's sitting Matt Ryan? Why do you think he's sitting them? You guys have an idea? Tank? Maybe. Number 1 pick? Kevin's right. Money. $500,000 for every start he has. Say $5 million. I'm not starting this guy. That's why they said, you're not playing the rest of the year. What? He's not hurt. Cost him $5 million because the owner parachuted down and told the GM and head coach, I'm not paying for this mess. Okay? That's not winning football. That's tanking. Buffalo at the Jets continue to get exposed. The Jets, Fireman Ed. We're back to Fireman Ed. 31-17, Buffalo, and the greatness of Josh Allen and his MVP candidacy race continues to flourish. Throw for 5 touchdowns in this game. The New York Jets, Fireman Ed, he's back as the most popular Jet of all time. Oh, wait, Jody McDonald. Oh, I kid Jody on that. How could you be a Jet fan, Jody? Come on, man. You and Greenberg got to give it up, dog. Nobody's a Jet fan, okay? Nobody. Nobody in New York is a Jet fan. Ugh. Minnesota at Washington. Woo! Washington's a different looking team with Tyler Heineke. Like Tyler Heineke. Minnesota runs their record. What will it be to 7-1? Keeping pace right there with the Eagles. They win 28-21 in a close one. Las Vegas versus Jacksonville. You got to think that Derek Carr is going to win this game, even on the road. Sorry, Doug, you still got a lot of cleaning up to do after Urban Meyer's mess. Okay? 27-14, Raiders win. Seattle at Arizona. This is remarkable what I'm going to say. Geno Smith will put another pelt on the wall. He'll beat Kyler Murray and have already beat Russell Wilson this year. What has happened to him? Can it be that really Geno just needed really good coaching? I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. How a guy who's dead and buried, Kevin, we're getting there. Kevin, we're getting there with Trevor Lawrence. We're getting there. He's starting to look like Vinny Testaverde to me a little bit. Okay, he's starting to get in that conversation like Vinny. All the tools in the planet, but bro, you got to win, man. Nobody cares about 5,500 yards. Nobody cares about your size, your speed, the potential. Again, there we go with potential. You know, the one thing about potential with Jalen, at least he's fulfilling it. And you're seeing him do things with his potential. You're watching it. Trevor Lawrence, man, it's wobbly. It's really wobbly at best. Nick keeps asking me about cheerleaders. If you ask me about strippers, I'm good. I don't know. Aunt Betty, I'm sorry. Los Angeles Rams at Tampa Bay. Who would have ever thought this game means nothing? This is like a season-saving game for one of these teams. Rams or Bucks. It's at Raymond James. I'm going to go Bucks. I don't know why, but I'm going Bucks. 24-20. Tennessee at Kansas City. This will be an interesting ball game because big boy Derrick Henry's coming to town. How you doing? He can run that Kansas City D over. Battle of the bums instead of the battle of the bums. Hey, no, what this is, hey, Kevin, this Rams and Bucks game, it should be dubbed this. The Geezers at Caesars. The Geezers at Caesars. I don't know. She put a headline. She played a game at Caesars Palace. The Geezers at Caesars. They're not outscoring Mahomes. Okay? Oh, Hat, don't do that to me. You needed the modern-day transfer system. Don't do that to me, man. Come on. Make me feel good going into the weekend. I know they're doing all the shit that I did back then. Not fair. I totally agree. Don't do that to me. 36-20. Kansas City wins. Plus, it's at Arrowhead. I find it hard to believe, right? You're going to go into Arrowhead, the Uncle Rico game. Baltimore at New Orleans, the greatness of Lamar Jackson. 28-20. There you go. There's your lineup. College game this weekend is Tennessee, Georgia. Who you guys got? Tennessee, Georgia. I think it's at Neyland, right? I think it's at Neyland. I think it's at Neyland Stadium. Jeremiah says, let's go Vols. Man, they haven't been good since Phil Fulmer. Tennessee, Abanias goes, I got Georgia. It's in Tennessee, right? That kid Hooker can play, man. He's a good-looking football player. He's like a Conrad Holloway kind of guy. Remember that kid from back in the day? Some of you guys have never heard the name. But Conrad Holloway is a Tennessee Volunteer legend. And I believe he was one of the first black quarterbacks in the history of the Southeastern Conference. And he was fabulous. I grew up and I just idolized him. He still works in the organization and he still works in the program. But Conrad Holloway, dude, that guy was he's a living Tennessee legend. There's a documentary out there on him. You should watch it. You got the Falls. Cowboys lose on their bye. I got Georgia winning this, man. Dude, I just think the kid Bennett, I don't really think that much of, but this guy's beat Alabama. This guy's won so many football games. I don't know, man. I got Georgia winning that game. Dan's Batcave. True. As Xander. The Batcave is where Dan lived. You want to know where Very easy to find me. Where's Dan? He's in his back cave with all of his gear and all of his BS and all of his balls. Thank you. LSU Bama. LSU Bama. Bama ain't looked that good in the O-line. Is it in Tuscaloosa? Is that thing in Tuscaloosa? If it's in Tuscaloosa, it's Alabama all night. Tuscaloosa. If it's in Tuscaloosa, let me look at this. I just got a text message. From somebody over at the NovaCare Center. How you like me now? Oh, man. Who is this? How you like me now? I think it's Tracy Rocker. I don't believe it's Stoutland. I just said, how do you like me now? Howie's got a burner now. Sileo, I'm in the kitchen. Do you smell dinner? What's cooking, maniac? Seals, your thoughts on Jordan Mailata getting beat last night. Been saying it a little bit here, CB. It's troubling. I think that he's injured. I think his shoulder injury is playing a factor here because he's not extending and they're getting around the corner on him. So to me, I think that he's playing hurt. It's got to be because he's had a massive drop-off. I mean, do we not agree? Since that injury, he's not played well. They probably should have sat him 2 weeks, but they wanted him for that Cowboy game. And now this is what you get when you put a guy out there. And remember, Andre Dillard was hurt. Jack Driscoll, he's very functional. But at the end of the day, Holloway's a CFL Hall of Famer. Is he? Yeah, man. He's a legendary volunteer. Joshua goes, I could have beaten Mailata last night. Not if he puts the power bump on you, bro. He puts the power bump on you, grab you, throw you down, and then throw himself on you. Dude, you'd be a pancake. Homie takes those DBs that do those safety blitzes, and he pancakes them dudes, man. Great goes, Dan, when's the last time you got into a fight? Great. I retired as heavyweight champion of the world. So Big Sills is retired. Maybe when I beat those 5 guys up in a gym with my wife. That may have been my last fight. I don't know, maybe about 12, 13 years ago. After I beat those 5 guys up in the gym, I retired. I said, too many victories. The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You know what I'm saying, man. So, Sills, last 20 minutes, your true fans hang. They always do. You guys, of course you do, man. Absolutely agree 100%. The people who give me the most shit, they're the ones that jump on, and then my true friends. I don't call people fans. I think we're friends. Okay? Fan sounds too Howie-ish. I'm the greatest. I have fans. I have fans. I'm Howie Roseman. All hail Howie. Hail Howie. Hail Howie. By the way, we have a new milk carton issue. It's either going to be Keith Sweat or Mailata next week. Dude, don't get on the Big Sills milk carton. It's not a place you want to be. The Kobe's on it right now. Hassan's been on it. Okay? Kyle, thank you. Have a great weekend. I'll tell you what, man. I still think the Phillies, they square it up and get it to a 7th game. Who knows what happens then? It ain't over. Don't lose the faith. 8-0 Eagles. You guys get a chance to watch some of the teams in the NFC and in the NFL this weekend. So keep an eye on everybody because we're going to be figuring out the league here over the next couple weeks here. So have a great time. Some great college football on Saturday. Don't forget the World Series. Xander, awesome stuff as always. Till Monday, have a great weekend. God bless, and we'll see you on the flip side.